Welcome to Success Today. I am your host, Bob Guiney, and joining me is Marjorie Dick Stuart. Marjorie, it's amazing. You're an author of a best-selling book. You are in the top 1% of realtors in North America. I mean, you have accomplished so much. So Marjorie, tell me a little bit about yourself and about your business.
All right, so I got in the business in 1980, and I worked like a dog. I worked 100 hours a week, and I burned out, and I quit. So when my son went to school, I decided I was going to get back in, and I was going to do things differently. And I decided that I was going to just work with people who want my help. So then 2008 happened, and the crash.
Yeah.
And times were tough. So real estate agents started hiding under rocks. Don't laugh, they were really hiding under rocks.
Yeah.
And I realized that sellers needed my help a lot more than they had before. They really needed good advice. I started working really hard. The real estate agents were still hiding under rocks, and I started marketing like crazy. And I was able to get my sellers 102% of their asking price in just about 6 days on the average.
Wow.
Wow.
So short time on the market and getting more than asking. That's fantastic.
Right, so I put a house on the market on Friday, and before Monday it's usually sold.
Wow.
So when they hire me, that's what they expect.
Sure. And they expect it to be perfect.
Perfect every time.
That's a high standard.
There you go.
I love it. Now, what got you involved in real estate in the first place? Why did you get involved in this industry in the first place?
So when did I move here? I moved here in 1979. I packed my little beat-up old Toyota Celica up with whatever I had, and I set off to Washington, D.C. to go find my fortune. And I moved into a group house. And one day I remember walking by one of my roommates' rooms, and there's this guy, Dave, sitting in there reading a big fat book. And I said, Dave, what are you doing? And he said he was going to get in the real estate business and make a ton of money. So I said, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that. So that's what I did. So I went to class, I took the test, I passed the test, and my first year in the business, I made 19 sales.
That's awesome.
So that is awesome.
So you knew you found your spot.
I found my spot.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was what I would do forever. But here's a good, actually this is pretty shocking. Real estate agents on the average sell 2 houses or less a year. So I was starving, I had to eat, I had to work, I had to learn the business, so I made sales. When I meet with a seller and they ask me questions, they ask me, how long have you been in the business? That's the wrong question. That's not what's important. What they should be asking is, how many sellers have you worked for successfully, sold their homes in the last 12 months?
So that's the question they need to be asking.
That's the question.
Yeah, because the answer they're going to get is going to let them know, is going to inform them that you're the right realtor for them.
Right.
All right, so you have a great grasp of your industry. I know you're just killing it in Washington, D.C. as a realtor. Let me ask you, why would I choose Marjorie Dick Stuart over another realtor?
Okay, well, you would choose me over another realtor because of one of my great marketing strategies. Actually, it's my hottest new marketing strategy I'm working on, and I call it under the radar real estate. And I'll give you a good example. So I have this commercial real estate agent friend who was looking for a house for his family in Cleveland Park, and we found the perfect house. It was a mess, and it was perfect for a redo, but a builder beat us out of the contract.
Okay.
So we didn't give up. We kept going, and I actually connected him with the builder. And that builder built him and his family their dream home.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it all ended up in the right place.
Yeah. So it's really who you know and who you can connect, right?
But this is the under the radar real estate.
Sure.
So the under the radar part about that was I knew who the buyer was, I knew who the developer was, so I connected the two people. And then once he moved into that house, actually he had another house to sell. So the house he had to sell, he wanted me to sell it for him. So he invited me over, I looked at the house, he wanted to hire me, but he wanted way too much money for it. So I had to turn him down, I couldn't help him.
Right.
So he hired another agent. So for 7 months, the house sat on the market. And we're talking about a market where I sell houses in 6 days for 102% of the asking price. And this house sat on the market for 7 months with about 4, 5, 6 price changes during that time. So after the last price change, they gave up and didn't sell the property, and they rented it. So 3 years later, I met a family who were about to have a set of twins. They had a 2-year-old and they were about to have a set of twins. And they contacted me to find a house in Cleveland Park. That's when there was nothing on the market. There was nothing for them on the market. It was in a high price range. It was a tough range. So I remembered this guy in his house, and I called him up. And I said, hey, do you want to sell your house? And it turned out it was the right time. So we went over, we looked at the house. She walked in there. She said, I love this house. And that was it. So that's one of my good under-the-radar stories.
No, it's a great story. And I would imagine that probably really helps define your approach to your business, too. It's about making relationships and keeping those things in mind, right?
It's about finding the connections, having the network, finding the people, and then putting them together.
That's fantastic.
It's exciting.
Okay, so I know you have a ton of great success stories. Obviously, having been in the industry as long as you have and sold as many homes as you have. What's one of your favorite success stories that you could share with us?
Okay, well, one of my favorite stories is about Janet. This is a great story. Janet lived in her house for 80 years. She moved in when she was a year and a half old, and she contacted me after she'd been there for 80 years. And she had this big, beautiful house, but everything in it was very old. And she invited me over, and we walked around, and we did what I call my room-by-room review. So we walked through each room, and she showed me, she talked about all her memories in the house over 80 years. It was really stressful. It was emotional for her. And I was there telling her how she has to paint her blue room and her green room and her salmon room. And she said, well, Marjorie, you know, everyone that comes to my house loves these colors. Why do I need to do this? But she trusted me, so she took my advice. And she relaxed, and she was able to just sit back and let me take over. And I took out all her furniture. I had the mover come, the stager come. We took all of her furniture out. We moved all of my furniture in. We painted all those walls, the blue room, the green room, the red room. We washed her windows, and the house looked great. And I want to tell you the most amazing part. Okay, this is why this is one of my favorite stories.
Okay, I'm ready.
So the best part is, after she did that and I looked at it, it looked so amazing, we raised the price.
Oh, that's awesome.
I had never done that before.
Yeah.
We raised the price, and she got 2 offers, and she sold it right away, just like that.
That's fantastic.
Actually, to a couple of attorneys who live down the street who I had just sold a house for.
That's awesome. Now, how would our viewers be able to find you? If they wanted to talk with you, to use you as a consult, or to use your real estate services, how would they locate you?
Okay, well, they could call my cell phone, which is 240-731-8079.
Okay.
Or they could use my email address, which is my name, Marjorie, at marjoriedickstewart.com. Or, you're going to like this one, they could look for me the way this buyer a few months ago did. She remembered my face, she remembered me, she couldn't remember my name, and she Googled real estate agents who have pet lizards, and she found me that way.
So you have a pet lizard?
I did.
What's your lizard's name?
Lizard's gone now. Her name was Spike.
Wow. Rest in peace, Spike.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Obviously a huge success story. I mean, we're the top 1% of realtors in all of North America. That's a huge accomplishment. Congratulations on all your success, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
I appreciate it very much.
Thanks.